Hi everyone! It's time to start Chapter 4 of Anne of Green Gables. Anne tells her story. Early the next morning, Marilla and Anne were on their way to Mrs. Spencer's house. Anne, as usual, was talking about anything and everything. "I've made up my mind to enjoy all the beautiful things we pass on this drive," she said. "Wouldn't it be nice if roses could talk? And isn't pink the most bewitching color? I do so wish that my hair weren't red. It's so unbecoming. Have you ever known anyone whose hair was red when they were young, but changed color when they grew up?" "No, I don't think I have," said Marilla dryly. Anne sighed. "Well, there's another hope gone. My life is a perfect graveyard of buried hopes. That's a sentence I read in a book once, and I say it to comfort myself when I'm unhappy. It sounds so romantic, as if I were a heroine in a book." "Since you're clearly bent on talking the entire drive," said Marilla, "tell me what you know about yourself." "What I know about myself isn't very interesting," said Anne. "Why don't you let me tell you what I imagine about myself?" "I don't want any of your imaginings. Just stick to the facts. Where were you born and how old are you?" "I was 11 last March," said Anne with a sigh. "I was born in Nova Scotia. My parents both died of a fever when I was just 3 months old. Since then, nobody has ever really wanted me. I lived with Mrs. Thomas for 8 years, helping to take care of her children. But then Mr. Thomas died, and they couldn't keep me anymore. I went to live with Mrs. Hammond and took care of her 8 children. She had 3 sets of twins. I used to get so tired of carrying them about. After 2 years, Mr. Hammond died too, and the children went to live with the relatives in the States. I had to go to the orphanage in Hopetown. They didn't want me either because they were crowded, but they had to take me. I was there for 4 months until Mrs. Spencer got me yesterday, and that's the whole story." "Didn't you ever go to school?" demanded Marilla. "Not very much," said Anne, "but I can read well, and I know ever so many pieces of poetry by heart." "Were Mrs. Thomas and Mrs. Hammond good to you?" asked Marilla. "Oh, they meant to be good and kind," answered Anne carefully, "but Mrs. Hammond had such a very hard time, what with 3 sets of twins." They rode quietly for a time. Marilla began to think of what a sad story Anne's life had been so far. Maybe the decent thing to do would be to keep her. She knew that was what Matthew wanted. A short time later they came to Mrs. Spencer's house, and Marilla remembered why they were there.